Yesterday's lesson was about adding and subtracting fractions. Today we are going to talk about multiplying and dividing fractions. So I can multiply and divide fractions. Okay, so remember once again, these notes are on Schoology. You could print them out or you can just do these on a separate sheet of paper. Okay, so what does this mean in words? In essence, if I have an even number of, actually, I'll leave it as this. I'll leave it at this. If I have an even number of numbers that I'm multiplying, so even numbers, then it's going to be positive. If I have an odd number of negatives, it's going to be negative. And I'll explain what that means in a little bit. Okay, so positive times a negative is a negative, negative times a positive is a negative, positive, 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 negative, negative is a positive. So what does this mean? Even number of negatives. So take a look at this. So here I have 0 negatives, here I have 2 negatives, 0 and 2 are both even. That's why my final product is going to be positive. Right? In this case, positive and negative, I have 1 negative. So I have an odd number of negatives, so that's why it's going to be negative 1, or a negative product. Okay? So here's how you multiply fractions. You convert mixed numbers into improper fractions if necessary. So it's very similar to adding, subtracting fractions too. And here's what I would say. I would simplify first, right after that. And I'll explain what all of this means. Multiply straight across after you finish simplifying. And convert the improper fraction back into a mixed number if necessary. So what does that mean? So let's do example 1. So it looks like I don't have to convert my improper fractions, right? They're already improper or they're normal fractions. Let's simplify. I can simplify diagonally or vertically, but not up and down, or not left to right. So I can simplify this. 2 and 8 becomes 1 and 4. Nothing else simplifies, right? So now I multiply straight across. I have negative 1 times a negative 1, which is a positive 1. 3 times 4 is 12. My final answer is positive because I have an even number of negative symbols. Okay, here's example number 2. I have to convert these into improper fractions first. So 7 over 4 multiplied by 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 3. It's a negative, right? And then let's simplify vertically or diagonally. 7, 4, no, 7, 3, I can't. All right, if not, let's multiply straight across. I get 49 over 12. And remember, because I have an odd number of negative, it has to be negative. If I were to convert this back into a mixed number, looks like 12 goes into 49 4 times, 48 subtract. You get 1 as your remainder. We learned yesterday too, negative 4 and 1 over 12. This is your whole number, numerator, denominator. So this is all, should be reviewed for many of us, but this is a good refresher if need be. Okay, example number 3, negative 1, 7 times bracket 4 over 5 times negative 7. You're like, whoa, what is this? So let's approach this property well. So we can use the properties of multiplication to make the product easier to find. According to the commutative property of multiplication, changing the order of numbers we are multiplying does not matter. So what I can do is I can make this 7 over 1. Okay, I can make this 7 over 1, and then from here I can do 7 and 7. These become 1 and 1. Okay, so now let's multiply straight across. On top I have 1, 4, and 1. That's just 4. Bottom I have 1, 5, and 1. That's just 5. So this is where the even and odd comes in handy. How many negative symbols do I see? I have 2. That's an even, so that means my final product is positive. So you can use that even and odd trick to help you out. And also the commutative property of multiplication to kind of simplify and make things a little easier for you. Okay, so why don't you try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your own? Okay. Oh, this got cut off a little bit. But dividing fractions is not that different too. Convert into improper fractions if necessary. But remember, this one, dividing fraction, a little tricky. You leave the first fraction alone. You turn the division sign into a multiplication sign. And you flip the second fraction over. You're finding its reciprocal. So if you've heard of keep, change, flip, this is the same thing. So you're leaving the first fraction alone, keep. You're turning into multiplication, change, keep, change, flip. Okay, so from here you simplify as we just did earlier, and then you multiply straight across. And you convert back into a mixed number at the very end. Okay, you have to do keep, change first before you can simplify though. So we have 3 examples here, it looks like. So let's do these 3 examples. Let's do keep, change, flip. So we keep the first one, convert, and then make it 5 over 2. Multiply straight across, you get 5 over 6. Example number 5, you convert into a improper fraction. So then you get 35 over 6 divided by negative 21 over 10. Then you do keep, change, flip, and you simplify. So 7 goes into both, so this becomes a 5. 3, 2 goes into both 6 and 10, so 3, 5, and I think that's it. So from here we can multiply straight across. You get 25 over 9. Convert back into an improper fraction. You should get 2 and 7 over 9, but because of a negative sign, 1 negative, your final answer is negative as well. Last but not least, let's take a look here. I have order of operations. I do division first, so let's do keep, change. So negative 2 as a fraction is negative 2 over 1. So when I flip it, this becomes negative 1 over 2. And then let's simplify this. This becomes 2, 1. So this becomes negative 2 over 7. Plus, do not forget the 5 over 7. If I add negative 2 plus 5 is 3 over 7. So 3 over 7 is my final answer. Okay, so this is how you multiply and divide fractions. Why don't you try these next 5 on your own after you could fill out your level of understanding. Remember, you have a worksheet for homework, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye all.